Northern Ireland is a land within a land. While it's not Oz, once you cross the border, subtle differences become evident. Flags are everywhere to be found throughout Ireland. And here, they tell you that these folk bear allegiance to the crown and currency apart from the rest of Europe. But all differences are put aside for visitors who are welcomed with openness and warmth. Up here in Northern Ireland, the American flag flying, I didn't understand the connection. Well, we fly it in honor of the person who comes the furthest distance to our hotel. I can't believe it, but it's for us. I've driven in England with a manual transmission, but the warnings of the wilds of Northern Ireland, well, they were a little unnerving. While having your own transportation opens up so many opportunities to explore, it makes sense to rent a small car with a hatchback and automatic transmission. It doubles the price, but it's worth it for the peace of mind. On most of the narrow, winding roads, you face maybe a 6-inch clearance with a choice of hitting trees, hedges, or walls, should something go wrong. Also be prepared for petrol shock. Even our little 4-cylinder ate up almost $100 for a fill-up. The first course visited was the Hourglass Golf Club. The first impression was, wow, what a stunning setting. Before guarding par, this was a castle fortress guarding the eastern coastline. There is no easing into this course, even though the first tee means Lamb's Bay. The hole is more the wolf, challenging you to play down the short side of the fairway. But with even a perfectly placed shot, you won't see the green until you reach the summit. But the reward is a view that can take your breath away.
If you suffer from vertigo, the height can be quite distracting, but absolutely breathtaking at the same time. Most of the links courses in Ireland, as you know, you won't see the sea, but you'll know it's there. You can hear it, etc. But in on every tee box and every green, every fairway, the unique part of this golf course is the fact that you can see the sea from each fairway and green and big tee box. I don't believe that you'll see any scenery as beautiful anywhere in Ireland, or the world for that matter, when it comes to playing golf. Maybe that's personal, but that's the way it is.
There are stretches of holes that are brutal, but also stretches that invite good scoring. And if you're sly as a fox in plotting out the lines of your play, you just might gobble up a few birdies.
Yeah, baby!
This is one course you won't want to pass up when in North Ireland. Continuing up the coast, our next stop was Portstewart, and a late afternoon round that heavy rains forced a change in plans. And while tempted to do a little impromptu practice, I thought better of it, and we nestled in at the time-honored Bushmills Inn. Besides the name, the town is dominated by the renowned Bushmills Distillery. And what better way to spend a damp, chilly afternoon than touring the home of Irish whiskey? I'm not sure what the drinking age is in Northern Ireland, but the tour ended in a fine way for a sampling of their fine products. Cheers. Mist surrounded our arrival at Portstewart, but neither mist nor fog can hide this overpowering display of massive dunes that made golfers at a distance look like a column of ants. Instead of raging sea, here you're confronted by tempestuous waves of fescue nearly waist high. There is shelter from it, but not for a suspect game. With so many possible lines of play, first time out, a caddy might be a necessity if scoring is at the top of your list. But as if to compensate for this jigsaw puzzle on a massive scale, bunkers are fewer in number and less severe than what you might find elsewhere. As with the finicky bounces of a golf ball, things have a way of evening out, making it a fair test of golf. Continuing our trek through the north, as we made the turn toward the west, the terrain transported me into a different world. There were no dwarves, orcs, or hobbits, but with a backdrop suggesting something ancient, I finally met up with old Tom Morris. Well, not quite, but his stature in the history of golf, or maybe in this case, statue, gazes over the fields of Rosapenna, as remote a location as you might find in Ireland, but with a powerful attraction, pure, undistracted golf, both old and new.
Having the dream of Lord Leitrim in the early 1890s, and the golf resort actually opened the hotel and golf course in May 1893, leaves Rosapenna as being the world's oldest golf resort. With so many golf resorts open now all over the world, it's nice to know that Rosapenna was really the world's original golf resort. Originally, the first course was laid out by Tom Morris, who was brought over to Ireland by Lord Leitrim, a nearby landlord who wanted to build a 9-hole course on his own private estate. And Tom Morris came over and he looked at the ground and laid out a 9-hole course and said to Lord Leitrim, "This is where you want to build your course, this is real links land." So that was fine. From there they decided to build a course, and in 1893 the course and hotel opened, and Lord Leitrim owned it up until the 1930s. Harry Varden and James Braid were here in the 1900s for numerous challenge matches, and they did a little work to it, and also Harry Colt came in 1911 and changed the routine and lengthened the golf course.
At Rosapenna, you can totally immerse yourself in the game. A driving range, a 9-hole Coast Guard 9 that includes some of the old Tom Morris holes, the old Tom Morris course itself ranked in the top 30 of Irish courses, the Sandy Hills links of our dear friend Pat Ruddy, who designed it, ranked as the 11th best, and on the horizon, the completion of the much anticipated St. Patrick's Project, courtesy of Mr. Jack Nicklaus.
It's got 3 golf courses of the standard that we're trying to achieve. Then people will come for maybe 4 or 5 days. They might play each course once and then play their favourite course again. So it's really giving people an excuse to stay the extra couple of days here at Rosapenna.
2 tiny villages flank the resort, but you need not leave the property to envelop yourself in charm and luxury. It exudes a hominess and gentility that warms you from the rigors of the climate, and I can attest to the quality of the cuisine. One other note, although located far north, it is not part of Northern Ireland. The planned route set the Belmullet Golf Club at Carn as the last golf destination. The Atlantic side of Ireland showcases towering cliffs, so it's no surprise that amazing courses dazzle the senses and make the list of the most coveted golf destinations in the world. Belmullet is included among them. Winding up, down, and through the gigantic dunes, the course breathes a wild naturalness into you. It might just be a presumption, but compared to the other courses that I had faced, the fairways of Belmullet were more forgiving, and the greens more receptive. But in no way does that make it an easy course. It did allow me, however, to breathe a little easier. History, always a love of mine. So are movies. So we sidestepped the planned route to visit the quaint village of Cong. That probably doesn't ring a bell, but maybe this will.
What time is it?
5:30, sir.
Over half a century after production, the Quiet Man still echoes throughout the streets of Cong. Having met Maureen O'Hara, my interest was also personal. But see for yourself the now classic movie, and then see if you don't have your own love story with the village, as John Wayne once had. I'd ask that our route take us to places that showed both the heart and soul of Ireland. We felt that beat in Westport. It's a small city by most standards, but large enough to offer almost anything the heart desires. It was here that we stayed at our first bed and breakfast, the Ardmore Country House. Unlike many B&Bs, which are just houses, this was in fact a manor house planted in a beautiful setting. Dignified, yet warm, The family-run estate indeed provided delicious breakfasts. And one note on this Irish tradition of toast. It will be presented to you every breakfast. Don't refuse it, they'll think you're daft and bring it anyway. Having played a week of golf around Dublin, there was no compulsion for me to look for more linksland. In fact, my concern was that I might become jaded by so much exposure to jaw-dropping terrain. But coming into Westport, a sign announcing an upcoming tournament at a local golf club aroused my curiosity. So I gave a call to the head professional, and once again, a surprise awaited me. My interest was in comparing an Irish inland course to the seaside links. Upon arrival, with huge Mount Croagh looming in the distance, my presumption was naive to say the least. Beautifully framed and landscaped, the Westport Golf Club was anything but ordinary.
Since 1973, it's held more championships than any other golf course in Ireland. It was Rory McIlroy's inaugural win in the Irish Close in 2005. Paul McGinley won the PGA Championship here in 2002, and we've had many visitors and different celebrities from all over come and play the golf course. It's enjoyable for everybody. It is a parkland course, however, it does have that linksy feel. Definitely you're going to feel the wind when you play, but you're also going to see a lot more character in terms of definition between fairways and rough, the trees that do make it a true parkland course. My best advice to anyone who would be coming to play Westport for the first time would be get your birdies early. The first 5 or 6 holes kind of eases you into the golf course. Relatively straightforward holes, but holes 6 and 7, the golf course really kicks in. Back 9, very challenging, but also very scenic, where Croagh follows every shot. We have our own Amen corner here, holes 11, 12, 13. Give you a little reprieve on 14, a nice par 3 with the mountain as a backdrop. And then the 15th hole, long par 5 around the bay, called the tee shot stage fright, because you've got to carry it about 150 yards to get it over the bay, which is one of the top 18 golf holes in Ireland. You know, we've got truly a beautiful golf course here in Westport, and as part of the Wild Atlantic Way, we are partnered with Carn in Belmullet and Connemara, and we have a pass that allows you to play all 3 golf courses, all within an hour's drive of each other. Perfect blend of the 3 courses. Parkland with a couple of links courses thrown in there.
Playing Westport was as enjoyable as any other experience in Ireland. The greens were receptive, the surfaces the smoothest and purest of the trip. So by accident, it immediately was added to my must-play list. Walking the towns of Northern Ireland, it was hard not to be nostalgic about my youth. Growing up at a time when there were still small drug and hardware stores, 5 and dimes rather than super Targets and Walmarts, barber shops and butcher shops. It left me wondering if the Irish were just catching up to us, or maybe the colorful flags and flowers meant that we've lost something in translation. But no matter how you see it, when you do come, you will hear Fáilte Ireland.